I invite the member for Maple Ridge East to lead the House in prayer or reflection.
The scripture says, "Let everyone be in submission to the governing authorities, for there's no authority except from God, and those authorities that exist must have been established by God." Let us pray. Our most gracious God, we thank you for your loving kindness, and we praise you for your almightiness and faithfulness. As we begin this fall parliamentary session, we humbly beseech you to bless this province, the Lieutenant Governor, the Speaker, the Premier, the Opposition Leader, and the Legislative Assembly. We ask for your guidance, strength, vision, and wisdom as we continue to pledge ourselves to tend with loving care our rich heritage on behalf of all British Columbians. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen.
Introductions by members. Member for Kelowna Lake Country.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to recognize a very special person here in the gallery with us today. Chris Elston, known better online as Billboard Chris, is a world-renowned child protection advocate from Vancouver. He travels the world engaging in street-level conversations and advocacy to shield children from unneeded medical interventions. The message is simple. Girls and boys are beautiful just as they are. No drugs or scalpels needed. One man and a billboard driving institutional reform globally with just signage and a mic. Help me welcome Chris. His courage and principles are inspiring. Thank you.
Member for Esquimalt-Colwood.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have two constituents of mine in the House today, Amy Cameron and Joe Ross. They were here speaking to private members about the BC Alzheimer's Society and telling their story and how it affects them, and I would just like the members of this House to welcome them.
Member for Delta South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm honored today to have two guests from my constituency, Nin and Dale Mann. They're here somewhere. They actually purchased this as a silent auction item in Badner-Tawasin, where you got to spend part of the day with MLA from Delta South and even attend question period. So let's make it worth their while, please, everyone.
Member for North Vancouver Seymour.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to extend a very warm welcome to the members of the Alzheimer's Society that were here to speak with us today. The Alzheimer's Society provides such marvelous support to a whole group of people in our province that can't necessarily speak for themselves or find their own supports. I'm very grateful for the work that they do, and I'd just like to introduce Jen Lyle, who's their CEO, Paula Brill, who's with Engagement and Community Services, Rebecca Frederick, who's with Engagement, and Scott Jackson. And I'm very glad that they're here speaking to us about the Alzheimer's Society and the work that it does, and also Amy and Joe that were here to tell us about their lived experiences. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and hopefully everybody makes them a warm welcome.
Leader of the Official Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There's lots of people here I'd like to introduce from our CAs, but I'm going to leave that for another. But there is an individual here who is not a CA, but who was a former MLA. He's a recovering MLA, a recovering politician. He spent a lot of years here. I worked with him closely from up in the Peace River area. He's a great individual. He's very passionate, and he still stays connected with politics. So with the House, please welcome Dan Davies.
Member for Peace River South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have two introductions, if I may. The first is the Explorers and Producers Association of Canada. We had the fantastic opportunity of having an outreach event with the individuals this morning. And EPAC, as they're known, is a lobby group representing Canada's oil and gas entrepreneurs. And they have over 80 member companies producing a large proportion of the country's hydrocarbon endowment. Their members spend billions of dollars annually across the country and directly employ more than 50,000 people in every province and territory. I'd like to have this House join me in welcoming Tristan and Jennifer. My second introduction, Mr. Speaker, at the nudging of a colleague from across the aisle, is I'd like to recognize my beautiful bride of over 3 decades. She's been instrumental. We all know the pressures on family life of doing this work. We all know the pressures on our relationships with spouses, and I wouldn't be here without her. So help me welcome her.
Minister of Social Development and Poverty Reduction.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today in the legislative precinct are my friends from Nanaimo, Sue and John Little. Members on this side will recognize John Little as a steel worker, as a volunteer at Legion 256 in Nanaimo, and most importantly to me and my crew and family, captain of my sign crew. Will the House please make the Littles very welcome?
Member for Caribou-Chilcotin.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. 2 very special people to introduce today, visiting from Quadra Island, from a place that I affectionately call Dokeville, is Glenda Genaway. She is a retired hygienist there, and Peter Genaway, who is a grade 9 student from Carey High School, very interested in politics. He's met with the Speaker this afternoon, and they're going to tour the precinct. Will you please make them very, very welcome? Thank you for coming.
Minister of Post-Secondary Education.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today on the precinct, I'm very excited to welcome School Group from Guru Nanak 6th School in my riding, a group of grade 4 to 6 students. They're, I think, outside maybe right now in a scavenger hunt. Really excited to have them here. It's so important to be able to have students come here, see democracy in action, and so thankful to their teachers, their parents and guardians, and to the principal, Ms. Jagbir Kaur, and the teachers, Ms. Sachdeva, Ms. Inmeet Kaur, and Ms. Neha. So if everyone would just please help me make them feel welcome wherever they are on this precinct.
Member for Langley Willowbrook.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of the official opposition caucus, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all our CAs from across British Columbia, better known as BC Conservative CA Super Squad. Gathered here in Victoria today for the 2025 Conservative CA Conference, they are a dedicated and hard-working group, particularly behind the scenes efforts that go unnoticed usually. Your commitment assures our success and a smooth running of our daily lives. On behalf of the official opposition caucus, we appreciate you. Thank you for being here and for all that you do. Can the House please make them feel welcome?
Minister of Forests.
Thanks very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm not sure if they're in the House yet, but certainly on the precinct we have representatives from the Council of Forest Industries here in Victoria today. They had an opportunity to meet with members of Executive Council as well as members of the Government Caucus. Without a doubt, we are going through a very challenging time in forestry. Starting on Tuesday, 45% duties and tariffs. I want to really thank Kofi for the leadership that they provide to the forest industry, working with our government on the challenges ahead, but also the opportunities, and for my colleagues who had an opportunity to participate in lunch today, to be able to hear from the real young leaders in forestry in every parts of our province. That certainly makes me feel optimistic about the role that forestry has here in British Columbia. I want to thank Kofi for the work that they do alongside our government to be able to ensure that we can build that strong, sustainable and robust forest sector that we can all be proud of for the next 100 years. So the House, please join me in making Kofi feel very welcome.
Member for Richmond Queensborough.
Mr. Speaker, we earlier had some students here from Matthew McNair Secondary School, and they were from the grade 10 level. And I just would like the House to give them a welcome, warm welcome. Thank you.
Member for Caribou-Chilcotin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just recognized Emily Astron, who is also joining us here today in the legislature. She's visiting from Port Coquitlam, and I think she's very interested in seeing the library later on today. So thanks for coming, Emily. Make her please feel very welcome.
Member for Scarborough-Colwood.
I missed one earlier, as we all can contest this job is hard, and today is my husband's 38th birthday, and I'm spending it here, but I know he enjoys question period and he's watching, so happy birthday.
Member for Kamloops North Thompson.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. And again, as the Forest Minister has alluded, I'd like to welcome Kofi here as well. You know, we do have challenging times in this forest industry in British Columbia. We had a very good meeting with them earlier in the day, and we're going to be meeting with them again later this afternoon. So can the House please give them a very warm welcome again? Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Introduction of bills.
Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, I have the honor to present a message from Her Honor the Lieutenant Governor.
Her Honor, the Lieutenant Governor transfers here with Bill number 24, Vaping Product Damages and Healthcare Costs Recovery Act, and recommends the same to the Legislative Assembly. Attorney General.
I move that the bill be introduced and read a first time now. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to introduce the Vaping Product Damages and Healthcare Costs Recovery Act. This bill allows the province to sue manufacturers, wholesalers, and related consultants for damages and healthcare costs associated with vaping products. It allows for claims to be made on a population aggregate basis rather than on an individual by individual basis, ensuring that claims reflect the broad extent of the harms caused by these products. In doing so, this legislation shifts the burden for healthcare costs away from taxpayers and back to the wrongdoers who cause harm. In this case, the vaping product manufacturers and wholesalers.
Members, this is the first reading of the bill. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Minister.
Speaker, I move that the bill be placed on the orders of the day for second reading at the next sitting of the House after today.
You have heard the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Member for Kelowna Lake Country Coldstream.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that a bill entitled Protecting Minors from Gender Transition Act, of which notice has been given in my name on the order paper, be introduced and read a first time now. Thank you.
Please proceed.
Members, I stand before you today not only as a member at this legislature, but as a mother. British Columbia is sleepwalking through the greatest medical scandal in modern history, and it's our kids who are at risk. In BC today, doctors are causing irreversible harm to children with puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and surgeries. These interventions rob children of the human right to grow up with their bodies intact and to one day have children of their own. BC schools add to this harm by socially transitioning children with new names and pronouns, often kept secret from parents. Gender clinics in BC are even performing double mastectomies on healthy young girls by the age of 14. All because we fell for the lie, a lot of us did, that children can be born in the wrong body. It's not true, though. Every child is beautiful just as they are. No drugs or scalpels are needed. Every jurisdiction in the world that has conducted a systematic review of the scientific literature has found no credible evidence to support this practice. So let's all make it stop. And this should not be a partisan issue. This bill will bring BC in line with the UK and other progressive European countries that have banned harmful and unscientific social and medical gender transition procedures for minors. In our schools, it will stop them using the wrong pronouns, keep boys out of girls' bathrooms, and remove gender ideology from school libraries and curriculum. It will stop doctors from attempting to change the sex of minors. In short, it will end this unbelievable era of indoctrination and medical malpractice. Please join me as we restore sanity to this province and provide the loving care that every child deserves. Thank you.
Members, the question is first reading of the bill. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Nay. Division.
Division has been called. Division has been called. Members, we are taking a vote on the bill introduced by a member for Kelowna Lake Country Coldstream, intituled Protecting Minors from Gender Transition Act. All those in favor, please rise. Please be seated. All those opposed, please rise. Please be seated. Mr. Clerk will connect with members online. Please keep your cameras on and audio on.
Emily Blatherwick.
I vote nay.
Minister Lohr.
I vote nay.
Minister Ma.
I vote nay.
MLA Phillip. MLA Phillip.
Please unmute your.
MLA Phillip.
You can't hear.
MLA Sandhu.
I vote nay.
MLA Phillip. There's no audio.
Mr. Clerk.
So those voting aye, Rate, Kindy, Millibar, Restad, Banman, Watt, Cooner, Halford, Hartwell, Neufeld, Van Popta, Duke, Clare, K. Neufeld, Bangu, Payton, Chan, Tour, Hepner, Giddens, Wilson, Davis, McInnes, Bird, McCall, Stamer, Day, Tepper, Mock, Gasper, Maz, Block, Luck, Brody, Armstrong, and Keeley, 45. Pardon me, Williams, Lowen, and Dollywall, Dirksen, and Keeley, 45. Those voting nay, Lohr, G. Anderson, Blatherwick, Routledge, Chant, Toporowski, B. Anderson, Neal, Osborne, Brar, Krieger, Davidson, Parmar, Sunner, Bear, Chander, Herbert, Wickens, Kang, Sandhu, Begg, Higginson, Lajeunesse, Choi, Rochford, Elmore, Morissette, Popham, Dick, Sharma, Farnworth, Eby, Bailey, Callon, Green, Whiteside, Boyle, Ma, Young, Malcolmson, Gibson, Glumac, Aurora, Shaw, Chow, Deere, Valeriot, Botterill, and Sturko, 48.
Motion is defeated. Member for Kelowna Lake Country Coldstream.
Mr. Speaker, I reserve the right to raise a question of privilege.
Whoa.
Members.
Mr. Speaker?
I'll keep standing.
Members, please. Member had the right to speak, so thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, please take your seat. Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Statements by members.
Member for Burnaby North. Let's hold it. Minister has introduction to make. Is leave granted? Aye. Please proceed.
Thank you. The students from the Guru Nanak Sikh School have entered the chamber, so thank you so much. It's wonderful to have you here. Again, these are grade 4 to 6 students, and we're so excited that you're here from the riding of Surrey Newton. Thank you for being here. I hope you had a great scavenger hunt and that you get to see democracy in action today.
Member for Kelowna Lake Country, you asked for point of privilege. Are you going to reserve yours? She did? Did she? Okay, thank you. That's fine.
Thank you.
Member for Burnaby North. Member for Burnaby East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to raise a point of order. I heard the member for Kelowna Lake Country just threaten me, and I'm just wondering, what is the process here for that?
Just a second, member. Member for Burnaby East, the chair did not hear that alleged comment made by other member. If you have more information, provide to the chair. We'll deal with that later. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. Member, take your seat. We will deal with this later. Thank you. We'll continue with the statements by members. Member for Burnaby North.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, I rise to give voice to someone who does not enjoy the privilege of speaking in this House. These are the words of British Columbian Aya Mahasab. Being an immigrant is not just about living in a new place. It's about carrying two worlds in one's heart. As a family with two kids far away from home, every day is a mix of gratitude and struggle. We try to give our children a life that feels no different from the kids around them, a life where they feel whole and included. But behind that effort is a mother who sometimes feels drained, stretched between cultures, and quietly battling the weight of not fully belonging. The hardest part isn't the language or the traditions or even the distance. It's the unspoken assumptions, the quiet judgments, the looks that say more than words. Diversity and inclusion are beautiful ideas, but they lose their meaning when curiosity is replaced by silence and assumption. Too often, people choose to assume instead of ask, to judge instead of understand, and that builds walls where bridges could be. My dream is simple. A community where questions come from kindness, where conversations open hearts, and where every child, immigrant or not, can grow feeling safe, accepted, and seen. I don't hope for a perfect world, only a gentler one, because sometimes all it takes is one small act of openness, an invitation, a smile, a genuine question to turn someone's loneliness into belonging. I believe we can do this if each of us looks a little deeper, welcomes those who seem new or uncertain, and chooses compassion over judgment. We can create spaces where differences aren't heavy, but beautiful. That's all I want for my children, a chance to grow up in a world that truly values the richness of every story. Thank you.
Prince George Waylemount.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I'd like to highlight the Prince George Public Library. The population of Prince George is, in 2025, sits at just under 79,000 people. That number doesn't include the surrounding communities of Regional District of Fraser-Fort George. Now here's a number I would like you to reflect on, Mr. Speaker. 29,848. That is how many active library card memberships are held at Prince George Library. In other words, more than 1/3 of the city's residents regularly use their library card, with dozens more making use of facilities and services available without a library card. This library, founded in 1955, continues to grow to meet the needs of its community, with over 563,000 books and other items borrowed in 2024. It remains a place of information and learning. It is also a gathering place, providing space for community members to engage with their neighbours, access the internet, find support for career development, and help applying for government programs, and seek shelter from wildfires, heat domes, and other extreme weather events. In 2024 alone, there was 191,000 in-person visits to the two library branches, an average of 625 per day. Nearly 4,000 new patrons registered their library card, a 19% increase from the previous year. Library events and programs are up 15%, while program attendance is up 25%. Another 365,000 people visited the library website, with 144,000 digital items borrowed, up 20% from 2023. These numbers show a system in demand by families and students alike. And yet, despite this, the province has left core funding frozen since 2009. Prince George is showing what's possible when a library is supported by its community. When will the government start supporting libraries and stable, sustainable provincial funding? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Vancouver Fraserview.
Honourable Speaker, 2 weeks ago, I had the honour of attending the 60th anniversary celebration of the German-Canadian Benevolent Society, a non-profit organization that operates the German-Canadian Care Home in my riding of Vancouver Fraserview. I would like to take this opportunity to recognize the valuable work the Society is doing in the past 60 years. The Society was founded in 1965 by Elizabeth Ox with the assistance of a small group of German immigrants. She established the German-Canadian Care Home in 1969, driven by the need for German seniors in Vancouver to receive care while maintaining their cultural tradition and companionship. In 1978, the home joined BC's long-term residential care program and has since housed many residents of all cultural backgrounds. With the help of the Vancouver Coastal Health, the Society is currently undergoing a redevelopment, and current residents are being transferred to the nearby Dogwood Care Homes in Vancouver, Langara. The new development will add 46 additional beds to a total of 178 beds. The new home will feature individual rooms with 15 building clusters, which houses 12 residents each. Each cluster has a kitchen, dining and lounge spaces, and personal laundry, allowing for maximum flexibility for daily life to unfold. In addition to these living spaces, the new design features a village space consisting of a large community hall, library, spa, treatment rehab rooms, art room, and conservatory. I'm proud to share this new project that reflects the German-Canadian Benevolent Society unwavering commitment to innovative seniors care. And Honourable Speaker, I'm proud of the work our government is doing in taking care of our seniors who have contributed so much to make British Columbia what it is today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for West Kelowna Peachland.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to recognize a pillar of Okanagan heritage, the Peachland Museum and the volunteers of the Peachland Historical Society who keep our stories alive. The museum is one of the most distinctive buildings in BC, an 8-sided Baptist church that has stood in downtown Peachland for over a century. Since the 1960s, this unique building has worn many hats: a municipal office, a parks and recreation hub, even a fire hall, before becoming what it is today, a restored heritage site that celebrates the foundational pioneer spirit of Peachland. The Peachland Historical Society was formed in 1980 and was restored and reopened in 1981 as both the Okanagan Regional Library on the main floor and the Peachland Museum above. The Society's members, all volunteers, have kept that legacy alive for over 40 years, preserving artifacts and stories that tell the tale of our frontier beginnings. Visitors from across the province are often drawn to the charming model railway display on the upper floor, a hand-built recreation of the Kettle Valley Railway from 1955 to 1965. Every detail is a labor of love, built by Central Okanagan Railway Company members who devoted thousands of hours to capturing Peachland's past in miniature. Today, the museum welcomes roughly 9,000 visitors a year, and this February it reopened after major renovations, now housing the Peachland Visitor Centre and offering new accessibility features to ensure everyone can experience our proud history. Mr. Speaker, the Peachland Museum reminds us that British Columbia's frontier story is one of resilience, exploration, and transformation. I extend my heartfelt thanks to the Peachland Historical Society the municipality of Peachland, and all those who have worked tirelessly to preserve our proud heritage. Thank you.
Member for Burnaby South Metrotown.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Well, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We can all use more gratitude and love these days. So on October 13th, Canadians will gather with family, friends, and neighbors to celebrate Thanksgiving. It is a moment to pause, to reflect, and to give thanks for the blessings in our lives, including the First Nations land that we get to work and live on, and the opportunities in our community. Thanksgiving reminds us to be grateful not only for the harvest of the season, but for the richness of our shared lives in Canada. Our diversity, our freedom, and the deep connection that bind us together. As Parliament Secretary for Trade, I'm reminded every day that our prosperity is built on people working together. Farmers and fishers, small businesses and entrepreneurs, workers and innovators who help feed families here at home and share the bounty of British Columbia with the world. Thanksgiving is a chance to recognize their contributions and the global partnership that sustain our economy. It is also a time to remember those facing hardship and loneliness and to extend generosity and compassion. The spirit of Thanksgiving is strongest when we open up our tables, our hearts, and our hands to lift one another. So this holiday, may we celebrate not only what we have, but also what we can give, building a future rooted in gratitude, kindness, and shared purpose. Happy Thanksgiving to all.
Member for Prince George Mackenzie.
For anyone who's traveled through BC's north, you'll know that there's something special about those vast spaces and the incredible natural beauty. But what really stands out are the people. Northerners give back to their communities and they help their neighbors. It's just part of the deal when you live in a small town in northern BC. One organization has truly captured that northern spirit, combining a love of the outdoors, a dedication to volunteering, and a whole lot of community pride. The Mackenzie Outdoor Route and Trails Association, better known as MORATA, has been getting big things done for the community since its founding in 2016. MORATA's mission is to work with local groups, government, and the broader community to unlock the untapped recreational potential of Mackenzie. Through partnerships and volunteer energy, they've built multi-use trails, hosted outdoor events, and promoted biking, hiking, backcountry skiing, sport climbing, and other non-motorized recreation that showcase the incredible landscapes around Mackenzie. What started as a small project for hikers and mountain bikers has grown into a thriving network and signature events that are drawing visitors from across the province. Mackenzie has always been known as the gateway to the spectacular Williston Lake, but today it also boasts one of the most exciting outdoor recreation scenes. This summer, I joined the Morphy Lake Scramble for the first time, a 16-kilometer adventure race where participants bike, run, and hike, all capped off with a great barbecue and live music. I'll admit it was a little bit ambitious on a year of the MLA diet, but it was an incredible day, cheered on by a community full of spirit. I want to sincerely thank the Board of Directors of MORATA and every volunteer who's picked up a hammer, cut a trail, donated equipment, or written a grant proposal. You are the heart of Mackenzie, and your pride in your community is what makes it such a special place. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Madam Clerk.
Oral questions by members.
Member for Columbia River Revelstoke.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This government's so-called reconciliation agenda has been an abysmal failure wrapped in a cloak of secrecy. The BC Supreme Court's rubber stamping of the Haida title agreement was so secretive, the Minister for Indigenous Relations and Reconciliation didn't even know it was happening. Will the Premier stand up today and finally tell all British Columbians what his cabal's plan is for reconciliation moving forward?
Minister of Indigenous Relations and Reconciliation.
Well, let's get something straight here. The Haida title agreement was made here in this House. We debated it. We went clause by clause. I don't know, maybe the member forgot that he was here. But we actually talked about the issues right here in the House. We debated it. Well, the leader of the opposition was here, and in fact, I seem to remember him saying very particular about the Haida title agreement. He supported it at first, and then he ran in the other direction once he heard what 1BC had to say about it. He said...
Members, shh. Member, Minister has the floor.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. On April 22nd, 2024, the leader of your party, of the members' party, looked the leaders and elders from Haida in the eye and said, quote, "I want to start by saying congratulations. For me, the path to reconciliation is of utmost importance." Later on in his speech, he said, quote, "We actually need to put together," this is what he claimed he told his Attorney General in 2017, quote, "We actually need to put together an offer to recognize title, because how on earth do you expect that we would actually win this in court?" So we brought it to the floor of this chamber, we debated it, we went through committee stages, the members can look at it up in Hansard if they hadn't spent the time, or they could talk to Haida. They could talk to the Council of Haida Nation. They could talk to councillors and mayors in Haida Gwaii who are actually working shoulder to shoulder to get that certainty so they can build that economy that they want and they deserve. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Member has supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm surprised the minister knows that much, because apparently when this went to court just a few short weeks ago, he didn't realize it was happening until after the fact. The Premier called this a template for the rest of British Columbia. British Columbians deserve to know what's going on with these extremely important and consequential decisions which are being made behind closed doors. To the Premier, whether it's the island, the Sunshine Coast, the Northwest, or anywhere else in this province, what secretive deal will be announced next that the public won't be made aware of until it's done?
Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. We debated that agreement here on this floor. It's in the Hansard. The member can read about it. There was consultations. We went through the work.
Let him complete the answer, please.
You know, and the leader of the opposition of the Conservative Party, he actually understands this work a little bit, because he actually signed over 400 similar agreements when he was the minister. Land use agreements, shared use agreements, land transfers.
Members.
He did all those things. Oh, he's saying that he didn't do that now? Is he changing his point of view, changing his history because of 1BC? Like,
members will come to order.
The member may want to create division between First Nations people and British Columbians, but what we're wanting to do is actually sitting down, shoulder to shoulder with... Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Members, when the question has been asked, you just give the courtesy to the minister to answer that. There's no need to interrupt in between. You can ask the following question if it's not clear, please. Okay? Leader of the official opposition.
Thank you, Honourable Chair, and I appreciate your direction and our ability to be able to heckle as part of the tradition in this House. The Cowichan tribes...
Member, before you start, Chair is not stopping you heckling. All I'm saying is do it in a way, in a respectful way. When one person is speaking, other one should stay quiet.
Yes, I agree entirely, Mr. Speaker, but heckling, of course, is a tradition being here for a long time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Cowichan Tribes versus Canada judgment could have serious ramifications for private property owners across BC. Legal experts from across the field have been clear that the province must argue extinguishment where fee title has already been granted. Can the Premier confirm or deny that he, his attorney, or his government gave direction to Crown Counsel not to argue the extinguishment of Indigenous rights where they overlap with private property?
Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to start by saying that we were the first out of the gate to say that we were appealing this decision and that we disagreed with the determinations that were made in that, particularly with respect to private property rights. We are, since then, getting a coalition of people together to address the issues that were in that case. Mr. Speaker, I can't stand before this House and talk about confidential issues that were addressed, but I just want to assure people that we're taking this matter seriously, and that our instructions were to uphold and defend property rights. Thank you.
Member has supplemental.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, clearly, if you listen and if you read the court case, the government did not argue the protection of private property rights or the extinguishment of Indigenous rights. So I find it interesting, the argument being made. But here's another thought that I find quite interesting. When we as the opposition sent a letter to the federal government asking this to be put to the Supreme Court as a reference question, the response by the Premier, as well as federal ministers, was that we were fear-mongering. The interesting thing is, Mr. Speaker, and I quote from the letter we sent, I quote, "significant uncertainty that this judgment has for private land ownership in Canada," end quote. That's the argument we put forward. And a quote from the Attorney General. I quote, "This ruling could have significant unintended consequences for fee simple property rights in British Columbia," end quote. We're called fear-mongering. It's the exact same words that the Attorney General. So perhaps the Premier could clear, by calling us fear-mongering for raising this, is he also calling the Attorney General fear-mongering for raising the same issue?
Hear, hear.
Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Over here on our side of the House, we take issues seriously and we have a considered approach to responding to the needs of British Columbia. The decision was 800 pages long. We have a team of lawyers that are poring over it and considering all of the legal aspects of it and making it clear what our views are on that decision, and I've done that, and so has the Premier. Mr. Speaker, what the opposition leader was proposing in that letter that he sent to me to go to the Supreme Court of Canada is legally, in effect, nonsensical and would actually do harm to the case. What we're looking at is putting a full grounds of appeal before the Court of Appeal, asking the Supreme Court to consider something before it's even gone through the lower courts, before all of the issues have been looked at by our Court of Appeal, is just the wrong way around it. Mr. Speaker, we are searching for those ways to find that certainty landlords. I'm having meetings every day to do that. The Minister is meeting with all parties, and we will continue to do that work. Thank you.
Member has a second supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, it's interesting. So they don't argue extinguishment and protection of private property rights in court. They think that asking for clarity from the Supreme Court of Canada, which is where this is going, about private property rights and Indigenous rights in terms of protection. Private property is the foundation, quite frankly, of our economy and, in many ways, of our society. Should be a simple question that the Supreme Court can answer. Which one is it? That's where it's going, and it will get there eventually because this will continue to be appealed. However, what I find interesting, Mr. Speaker, is all the secrecy. We talked about Haida and the secrecy there. The Seashell Agreement, which wasn't even released before the last election. It was months later before it was released. The public had no idea what was going on with these, as well as many others. This House, this Premier, and this government is continuing to keep people in the dark. Do people even own their land anymore? What's the rights there? Are they able to sell their land? Do they need some sort of consent or process? Do they have to pay some sort of fee? Well, there is somebody who is willing to say something about this, which is the lead lawyer for the Cowichan Nation, David Rosenberg. And this is what he said about the Cowichan decision, and I quote, "The sale of private property, quote, would be with the consent of the Cowichan Nation, and it would be with some accommodation," end quote. That's the uncertainty that has been created by this court case. And so perhaps the Premier could stand up and provide people in this province some form of understanding of the uncertainty that's being created. And will the Premier commit today to end the secrecy so that people can understand just exactly where they're leading this province?
Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We were the first ones out of the gate when this decision was released to say that we would be appealing it. We've been out there meeting with all parties to get a coalition to understand how we can approach this Court of Appeal decision, or the Court of Appeal, and approach an appeal. We're working hard every day because we want British Columbians to know that we will stand up for their private property rights, we will seek reconciliation with First Nations, and we will find that pathway forward. Mr. Speaker, it's not new that cases in British Columbia have come up to the court and affected the work of the province, even when the Leader of the Opposition was in government. These cases came forward, and our job as government is to bring people together, to figure out a resolution, and to move forward in a way that respects parties and brings us certainty that we need, and we'll continue to do that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
House Leader of the Third Party.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Treating housing as a commodity has turned homes into a retirement investment for the wealthy, not a right for all British Columbians. This is the legacy of housing policies in this province. Last month, the Union of BC Municipalities passed a resolution calling for a rights-based approach to housing, something already recognized at the federal level. New data shows nearly half of people experiencing homelessness in Metro Vancouver were evicted before losing their homes. You gotta say, the Bill 44 roosters are definitely coming home to roost. The government may say that rents have gone down, but you can't deny it's not nearly enough. And as we speak, eviction support services are unavailable because the residential tenancy branch is on strike, something the government could deal with and find a fair settlement so services to British Columbians could be delivered. So through you, Honourable Speaker, to the Minister of Housing and Municipal Affairs, what is this minister's excuse for not declaring housing a human right?
Minister of Housing and Municipal Affairs.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for the question. This is a government that has taken the housing crisis incredibly seriously, using every tool in the toolbox. And we're seeing the impacts now. I want to speak first to speculation, because for decades, speculators drove up housing demand in this province while red tape blocked construction. We saw it in our neighbourhoods, in communities all across BC, empty condos and empty neighbourhoods. This government has tackled speculators and made sure that homes are for people in communities all across BC. This is important work, and like I said, we are seeing it make a difference. The latest numbers out just this week show that over the last 2 years, rent is down 8.5% on average across the province. In fact, in Vancouver, over the last 2 years, the average rent is down 16.9%. That makes a tangible difference for folks all across this province, and we will continue to use every tool in the toolbox to continue to make housing more affordable and to ensure that homes are for people all across BC.
House Leader, Third Party Supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For decades, BC's wealthiest people, chief executive officers, presidents, and corporate millionaires have been deferring their property taxes on the public dime. They've avoided paying tens of thousands of dollars each year and instead borrowed from the taxpayers at rock-bottom interest rate, effectively earning more than what they owe in interest. This program was meant to help house-rich, cash-poor seniors stay in their homes, not millionaires in their mansions. This province has a record deficit, and this government wants us to think that cutting services and expanding fossil fuel extraction are the only methods to solve it. Instead of fighting for fairness, the government fights its own employees. So through you, Honourable Speaker, to the Minister of Finance, at a time of record deficits, When this government is tightening its purse strings for working British Columbians, why is this government allowing multimillionaires a break? And will the minister commit to closing this loophole?
Minister of Housing.
Thanks for the question. I absolutely agree that we need to make sure housing is not for profit and that we continue to prioritize homes for people across BC. I want to speak, in fact, to the work that we're doing to support renters in this province. In September, the annual rent increase was announced. We as a government have capped rent increases at inflation. While the opposition was in government, those rent increases were skyrocketing far beyond inflation, and we've seen the impact, and we've all heard the stories. As a government, we have also created the Rental Protection Fund to protect existing affordable rentals. We have expanded eligibility for the Rental Assistance Program, doubling the number of families. We continue to support those who are struggling with housing affordability while delivering more homes across this province in partnership with local governments, with the community housing sector, and with home builders. We'll continue to do that work to make sure that homes are affordable for people in every corner of this province.
Leader of the Fourth Party.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. World-renowned child advocate Christopher Elston has informed us that a private gender clinic in Vancouver is performing double mastectomies on healthy girls as young as 14 years old. 14. Mr. Speaker, my question through you to the Premier is this: how can he possibly allow this to continue?
Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have to say this is another sad day in the BC legislature when Conservative politicians are trying to dictate what parents should be doing and decisions they should be making with love and support for their children. And we're picking on vulnerable children. Let me be clear about something. Health decisions, individual health decisions for kids are a protected right of parents to make with their doctor in the best interests of their children, not by governments and not by politicians. I want to also say something, that gender identity is protected under the BC Human Rights Code, and that was unanimously passed in this legislature. I also want to say it's not a surprise that this is in the House now, that we debate these things, picking on vulnerable kids. We have a party in the opposition that decided their tent was so big that it included intolerance, racism, and hate. MLAs across the aisle are leaders in their community, and when they tolerate it in their party, they tolerate it in this province, and they bring it to the House. Mr. Speaker, we are a party that believes in human rights. We believe in defending the rights of all individuals to live a dignified life in this province and to be protected by our Human Rights Code. We believe that we shouldn't be picking on vulnerable kids and the decisions that their parents make with their doctors. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member has supplemental.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, thank you. Just this morning, I spoke with a father who's here today, who is fighting to protect his 8-year-old son. His boy was encouraged at school to believe he was actually a girl. Teachers used a new name and pronouns and kept it secret. Now, a psychologist is already discussing puberty blockers despite having never met the child. My question through you, Mr. Speaker, to the Premier: what do you have to say to parents who are justifiably enraged by the reality that under your direction, schools are transitioning children behind their backs?
Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Spreading disproven conspiracy theories to spread fear and misinformation that targets vulnerable kids when those decisions should be made by their parents with the love and support that they provide them and the doctors. I think I've spoken before about how we really disagree with this type of politics. And we're really sorry that to all those people out there and the families out there that are going through this and supporting their loved ones, and the kids out there that are hearing this, I'm sorry.
Member for Kamloops North Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's clear this government isn't meaningfully engaged local governments or stakeholders on the Heritage Conservation Act amendments. Last week, the former UBCM president even called them out. The minister fired back that she was wrong. Even the premier had to step in and extend consultation to try to fix this mess. And if there's one thing we know about the NDP, they love NDAs. So to the premier, if there's nothing to hide, why are you tying the hands of local governments and forcing them to sign NDAs?
Minister of Forests.
Thanks very much, Mr. Speaker.
Member, he has not even started yet, please. Members, member for Abbotsford South, take it easy.
The manure king from Abbotsford has a lot to say. It'd be nice to see him stand up in this House and represent his interests.
Member, both sides. Be careful, be respectful to each other, please.
Mr. Speaker, the Heritage Conservation Act is a very important piece of legislation that should be debated with respect. Respect for First Nations and their heritage, making sure we're strengthening First Nations' role in decision-making. But I've heard loud and clear at UBCM that the Heritage Conservation Act is broken. It's broken for local governments like Lytton, who have taken so long and so many efforts to be able to rebuild that community after a disastrous... Look, the members opposite asked a question. The member across the way, my critic, who I might add actually has some respect for this House.
Please continue.
Ask the question then.
Member,
stand up.
this
is a serious discussion, Mr. Speaker.
Carry on.
We have made it a commitment on this House to be able to transform the Heritage Conservation Act, transform it in a way that is going to speed up permits. On that side of the House, they are opposed to major projects. On this side of the House, we're going to build British Columbia, but we're going to do it in a way that meaningfully engages with First Nations, meaningfully engages with local governments, with industry. We welcome them to the table. We've extended the engagement. We're proud on this side of the House to be leading this engagement on this transformation.
Member for Kootenay Rockies.
Well, let's talk about stalling then. The self-imposed deadline from this government for the review of the mineral claims consultation framework has now passed. It's gone. Will the minister release that review today, yes or no?
Minister of Mining and Critical Minerals.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Thanks to the member for the question. Honourable Speaker, we are committed to supporting a sustainable, responsible and globally competitive mining sector, Mr. Speaker, to grow the economy and create good jobs for the people of British Columbia. The Mineral Claims Consultation Framework, Mr. Speaker, was created in response to our BC Supreme Court ruling, Mr. Speaker. The court gave the province, Mr. Speaker, 18 months to implement a new claims framework. And it has been developed, Mr. Speaker, working with the First Nations and industry, Mr. Speaker, at the same time. And I was very glad to see, Mr. Speaker, that we were able to incorporate several of the key recommendations made by the Association of Mineral Explorers, Mr. Speaker. We will continue, Mr. Speaker, to work with the industry and First Nation to improve the mineral claims consultation framework because it's a new process, Mr. Speaker. We will continue to work to improve it, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Boundary Smil Kameen.
Okanagan Falls voted to incorporate, and I am the MLA who is elected to represent that community. The process is stalled, and I'm being completely shut out, while residents are growing increasingly frustrated over this secretive process. This government says they want to work across party lines, but clearly their actions don't meet that. If this minister wants to represent my constituents in this process, then she will commit today to host a public town hall in Okanagan Falls. Yes or no?
Minister of Housing.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thanks for the question. The community of OK Falls made it clear through a local referendum that they want to move forward with incorporation. This decision will be led by local decision-making. I have appointed a facilitator to support a productive path forward toward the incorporation of BC's newest municipality. A number of important decisions to be made ahead of the letters patent and then the first municipal election in OK Falls, and those decisions including on boundaries and the name will be made by local decision makers. The regional district is actively involved with that facilitator, as is the local nation and community members' voices, and I'll continue to support that local process and look forward to finding good solutions, locally informed solutions, and incorporation, and then a local election during the general municipal elections next fall.
Member for Surrey White Rock.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Over 25,000 BCGEU members are on the picket lines. Every day, escalation grows. And you can actually, from this building, you can actually hear them on the streets, on the picket lines. You can see it everywhere. And which is their right to do. Let's be clear, that is their right to picket. Now we know that the NDP caucus staff, they are represented by BCGEU. And we know that their contract has expired. But what we have not seen is anything from them in terms of work action. So my question is a simple one to the Premier. Has the Premier cut some kind of secret deal with the NDP caucus staff that is forbidding them from joining their brothers and sisters on the picket lines?
Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. We, of course, respect the right of the BCGEU and all unions to take action. It's their hard-earned right. But we do, in fact, want to get back to the bargaining table. We have an offer that we've made to this union that keeps them whole with inflation. It also includes additional funds for the lowest paid workers that are part of this union and protects their benefits going forward. We look forward to getting back to the table.
Member for Kamloops Centre.
Thank you. Well, once again, not even close to an answer around the question, so we'll assume that means that the caucus staff is free to join their brothers and sisters on the picket lines if they choose. And again, Mr. Speaker, I want to be abundantly clear. This side of the House is not disputing for a second that the BCGEU or other public service workers have the full right to strike and take job actions. In fact, we're seeing escalating strike action daily in this province. The longest public sector strike in BC history is ongoing as we speak. So it's not unreasonable to think there is going to be further escalating job action, given that this minister was unable to find the negotiating table in the first 3 hours, that they were going to go back to the table. This government keeps saying the best place for a deal is at the negotiating table, but it's gotten to the point the GEU is now sent out a "Where's Waldo" meme because the government's nowhere to be found, Mr. Speaker. Now again, caucus staff are not exempt from picketing. Pickets can go up around this work site as well, which is the legislative precinct. The question, and we have Zoom rules, which are supposed to be for people that are ill and not able to attend in person, and that's really the spirit and the intent of Zoom. So the question for the government is this: given that we're at the start of a 6-week legislative session with 18 bills to try to deal with on behalf of the public, the possibility of escalating job action, which would see picket lines in front of this building as well, is the government prepared to have their cabinet ministers and their backbenchers cross the picket lines in front of this building if they get set up at the job escalation and still show up to work to actually do the people's work, or are they going to try to hide behind a Zoom screen for political expediency?
Government House Leader.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Thank the member for the question. If there's one thing I've noticed in the last few days, that this side of the House and our government has had no trouble showing up in this chamber to do their job. And I know one thing, Honourable Speaker, to listen to that side of the House talk about bargaining and workers' rights after when members on that side engaged in some of the most nefarious deunionization, job layoffs in the history of this province, Honourable Speaker. We'll take no lessons from them on the rights of workers or how to negotiate and get an agreement, Honourable Speaker. We have said right from day one, the place to get an agreement is at the bargaining table. That's what this government is committed to. This government is committed to governing for British Columbians right across this province, and we will do that every single day.
The bell ends the question period. Bell has ended the question period. Member for Burnaby South Metrotown. Sorry. Member for Prince George Valemount.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to reserve the right to raise a point of order.
Thank you. If it's a point of order, member, you should speak to it now. Unless it was a question of privilege, then you can do later. You can reserve your place.
No, it's a point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Can you state, please, what point of order is?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. I would actually like the Attorney General to make an apology to the BC Conservative Caucus. She stood in the House today and she called us a number of names which are inaccurate and untrue.
Attorney General.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. I'll take a look at the transcripts.
That's members. The Attorney General have basically saying she'll come back and answer the question later. So let's move on. Government House Leader.
Honourable Speaker, when there is a dispute on a point of order, particularly on something like this, it is perfectly reasonable to ask the individual to review the transcript and then come back and make an apology. It's happened many times in this House in the past before.
Absolutely. That's fine. Thank you. Member for Burnaby South Metrotown.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I have the honour to present the second report of the Select Standing Committee on Finance and Government Services for the first session of the 43rd Parliament titled Report on the Budget 2026 Consultation. I move that the report be taken as read and received.
The question is the report be taken as read and received. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Member continue.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I ask leave of the House to move a motion to adopt the report.
Is leave granted? Please proceed.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I move adoption of the report, and in so doing, I'd like to make some brief comments. The annual budget consultation is an important opportunity for British Columbians to connect directly with MLAs and share their views, ideas, and priorities for the upcoming provincial budget. From May 30th to June 20th, British Columbians provided thoughtful, informative, and passionate input on a range of issues. In total, our committee visited 11 communities across BC, hearing 350 presentations and receiving 406 written submissions. On behalf of the committee, I would like to thank all of the individuals and organizations who put time and effort into sharing their information and priorities with the committee. Your input directly informed the committee's 86 recommendations for the 2026 provincial budget. British Columbia, like the rest of Canada, faces a difficult fiscal environment. In making its recommendations, the committee is deeply mindful of the need to prioritize ideas and initiatives that can stimulate the economy and deliver immediate impact for the people of this province. This includes recommendations aimed at unlocking unrealized economic activities and enhancing competitiveness for industries across the province, while ensuring all British Columbians have access to quality healthcare, social services, and education in safe communities. The committee also recommends strategic investments in initiatives supporting the green economy, disaster resilience, and the future workforce needs to ensure British Columbians remain a province where long-term growth, investment, and well-being is secured. Throughout the consultation process, the committee heard the unique needs and challenges faced by rural, remote, and northern communities, as well as First Nations. These voices and priorities are reflected in many of the committee's recommendations. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all committee members, and in particular Deputy Chair, member of Surrey Cloverdale, for their hard work, attention to detail, and their thoughtful contributions and discussions during deliberations. And on behalf of the committee, I would like to also thank and acknowledge and extend our appreciation to Legislative Assembly staff for their work on this consultation. From the Parliamentary Committee Office, thank you to Darrell Hoyle, Natalie Beatman, Jared Brown, Azu Bryson, Jonathan Hamilton, Hannah Kim, Danielle Mijon, Alexa Neufeld, and Kayla Wilson. And from Hansard Services, thank you to Amanda Heffelfinger, Daniel Sutter, David Smith, Simon Didat, and the entire Hansard Broadcasting, transcribing, and publishing teams. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Member for Surrey Cloverdale.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and thank you to the Chair for those comments. I also want to thank every British Columbian who offered their thoughts and concerns during our consultation on the next provincial budget. As the Chair mentioned, we visited a number of communities across the province, and the presentations we heard highlighted unique issues and opportunities everywhere we went. The committee heard repeatedly that the people of this province are facing challenges in many areas, including affordability, healthcare, public safety, and mental health and addictions treatment. The committee has put forward thoughtful recommendations to address these issues in Budget 2026, and many of our recommendations can be quickly implemented, while others would lay the groundwork for longer-term solutions to these problems. I would also like to extend my gratitude to my fellow committee members for their dedication and thoughtfulness throughout the consultation. This report would not have been possible without the hard work put in by every one of you, along with the support staff from the Parliamentary Committee's Office, Hansard Services, and many other areas of the Legislative Assembly. So thank you very much. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Members, the question is adoption of the report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Madam Clerk.
Orders of the day.
Government House Leader.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I call motion 45 on the order paper. Honourable Speaker, I move motion 45, of which notice has been given in my name on the order paper, which changes the sitting calendar to remove the week of November 3rd and adding the week of December 1st for the purposes of the annual First Nations Leadership Gathering.
You heard the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Government House Leader.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. In this chamber, I call continued second reading on Bill 17, the Intimate Images Protection Statutes Amendment Act.